commentator Dr. Abdul-Karim, and we do understand that the Sudan war has sparked the world's worst humanitarian crisis. So let's get talking with you, brother Dr. Abdul-Karim. Assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for handling Sudan issues. We really need people to speak about it.
Inshallah, we understand Sudan's civil war between the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, and the Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Paramilitary has produced the largest humanitarian crisis in the world. So, explain to us also the estimates is suggesting that tens of thousands of people have died from combat and thousands more have perished from diseases and hunger brought on by the war well into its third year. What exactly is going down, and is there absolutely no ways to stop this war? What will it take to stop the war?
To start with, let us say this is not a war for a cause. This is a war for power. And it is against the interest of the Sudanese people, let us put it frankly. The army of Sudan is the largest political force that have ruled Sudan more than 3/4 of its life after independence. And we had a revolution in December 2019 that has deposed the head of the army and the head of the ruling party at that time that was supported by the Muslim Brotherhood of Sudan. And as he was deposed, they didn't like to be weaned from power. And they were clinging to it and they wanted to come back again to power. And this is why they have had a coup against the civilian rule that was after the revolution, the civilian rule where Dr. Hamdok became the prime minister. So they had a coup against him, both of them together. But then there is only one chair for the president, and there were two. And then the two fought over that one chair. Everyone wanted to be at the helm of power. The difference between the two is the army wanted to be in power the way it was before for the last 55 years. And the RSF said, I wanted to support the revolution and bring in civilian rule. This is at least what he said. We are not always believing what people in power can say. So at least the RSF said, I will support the slogans of the revolution. But anyway, the fighting between the two, as you said, have produced the worst humanitarian disaster that has happened to Sudan in its since its independence. People are estimating that at least half of the Sudanese population, that's 20 million people, are displaced from their homes. The number of those who have perished, not because of the war alone. The war is one of the reasons, but the war have created another situation where people for 2 years were unable to cultivate the land, and more than 60% of the Sudanese are rural people depending on agriculture. For 2 consecutive seasons, they were unable to cultivate. And now we are facing the famine because no one is cultivating the land. The other problem that is happening is the disease. Because the war have destroyed all the health facilities, hospitals and clinics, and have dried the pharmaceutical industry in Sudan. The disease is now killing people more than ever before. So the Sudanese population is now under the 3 problems: the war itself, the disease, and the famine, and it is really unbearable. We hope that we are always asking for cessation of hostilities so that at least Some repairs can happen to the hospitals, and people can cultivate the land, and international community can help with humanitarian support.
At some point, Dr. Abdul-Karim Gibril Elgoni is my guest. Dr. Abdul-Karim, at some point, there was talk of a ceasefire between the SAF and the RSF. Whatever happened to those talks?
You see, immediately after the war, in 2023, actually, the war started in April, and in May, people have agreed, and there was a meeting facilitated by the Saudi Arabian ambassador in Sudan, and they went to Saudi Arabia, and they signed an agreement for cessation of hostilities. But the army did not like the cessation of hostilities because he felt that the RSF is rebelling against the official army, and it has to be destroyed completely. And after 2 years, it has proven that it is not easy to destroy the RSF, and we don't know what to do now. So practically, the were cessation of hostilities. People wanted to stop the war. The RSF have all the time saying, I am for cessation of hostilities. And actually, in January last year, the RSF have signed an agreement with the civilians chaired by previous Prime Minister Hamdok, that they wanted to have cessation of hostilities, and they actually released prisoners, but the army refused any cessation of hostilities, and the army is insisting on 100% defeat of the RSF, which becomes very difficult for us. And it is the two elephants that are fighting, and we, the Sudanese people, are the grass that is suffering from the fighting of those two giants.
We understand that the SAF is consolidating its control over the capital, Khartoum, which it took from the RSF in March. It also holds the central and eastern regions of Sudan, including its wartime capital of Port Sudan on the Red Sea. Do you believe that they will continue holding control over these areas? And what's the RSF's response? Though we also understand they control most of the western region of Darfur and much of the Kordofan region in the south.
You see, we as civilians, we don't want control of Sudan for any of the two warring parties. We wanted the rule of law. We wanted the Sudanese to be allowed to go for elections and to choose who to rule Sudan. And whatever is happening now is not a guarantee that you are in control. You see, the RSF have attacked Port Sudan, where the government was there, and the government also have attacked with its planes Western Sudan. So it is not a guarantee that if you are controlling a place now, that there will be no war in that area. So we are asking for complete cessation of hostilities in all areas, and we don't want to talk about who controls. We don't want the army or any person who is holding the gun to control things. We want them just to control our borders and leave the rule to the Sudanese to rule themselves. This is what we are hoping for.
All right. So to wrap up the discussion this morning, what's the way forward? Would you need foreign diplomats, foreign heads of state, perhaps even the Western government to try and broker these peace talks? And do you believe that if it does happen, if peace talks have or are brokered by other heads of state, that it will remain in place, that nobody will then jeopardize those talks?
The South African government have produced on Saturday a statement that says they are calling for cessation of hostilities in Sudan, and the South African government is asking for the two warring parties to come to the negotiations table, because every war has to end on the negotiations table, and this is a very good stance from the South African government that we are happy about. This is one. Two, just 2 days ago, the new government that has been established by the by the Ta'sis, which is a coalition of civilians and the rapid support forces and the South Sudan Liberation Movement has had their government, and we hope that this new government will put pressure on the army to come to the negotiation table. Or what we are hoping for is that both parties come to the negotiation table and on this war that is creating a lot of suffering. At the same time, we are looking forward to the South African government and the South African community to assist Sudan with humanitarian support. To my knowledge, till today, there is no direct support from South Africa, and I hope that your station and the others NGOs in South Africa will come together and coalesce to collect and provide humanitarian support, at least to some of the refugees that are now in their thousands. In Uganda alone, there is more than 150,000 refugees. In South Sudan, there is 70,000. In Chad, there is almost 500,000. And we hope that this support will at least reduce some of the suffering and of those refugees. And this will help us to help the Sudanese to come together and stop this war.
Inshallah, Ameen, Thumma Ameen. Thank you indeed for talking with us this morning. Assalamu alaikum to you. And to our valued viewers and listeners, we'd like to remind you that we are going to be having a Global Voices campaign entitled Sudan Dialogue. There will be a panel discussion. This is happening on the 14th of September on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. and it will be held at the Nelson Mandela Foundation at 107 Central Street, Houghton Estate, and attendance is strictly by RSVP. You can, in fact, get your tickets via Quicket. And the discussion, of course, is unpacking the largest humanitarian crisis. Please do attend because I think it will be quite an eye-opener. It is now 8:53 a.m. This is News and Views on Salam Media. We're moving along. Lots more to cover on this Monday morning, so do stay with us.